Guys, it's finally been announced. Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles is an upcoming remaster of Final Fantasy Tactics that is coming out on September 30th, 2025. It's just right around the corner. Yesterday, Sony held their June 6th State of Play where they announced a ton of upcoming 2025 games for PlayStation 5, and Final Fantasy Tactics: The Ivalice Chronicles was announced September 30th. It's just like, I can't believe it's actually happening. Years and years of rumors have just been everywhere, and everything has finally come to light, and we're actually getting this game. I think a lot of folks were wondering if this was just going to be called Final Fantasy Tactics HD Remaster. Are we going to get Final Fantasy: The War of the Lions HD? No, it's being called The Ivalice Chronicles because we're actually getting two different playable versions of the game in this collection. From the start screen, you have the option to either play the Classic Edition or the Enhanced Edition. The Classic Edition is going to feature the graphics and gameplay of the original PlayStation 1 game with the War of the Lions translation. The Enhanced Edition features an entirely revamped interface, a bunch of different additions and adjustments to the story, as well as fully voiced English and Japanese dialogue. As someone who's played hours of Final Fantasy Tactics back on the PS1, I'm really pumped to check out this Enhanced Edition, and I'm especially curious to see what these little tweaks and adjustments and additions to the story are going to entail. I know that for a lot of people, that's the one thing that they really don't want games like Final Fantasy Tactics to touch on. This is a video game that has such an incredible story, just wonderful characters, and overall really great world building that they've even expounded upon in games like Vagrant's story, as well as Final Fantasy XII. So for right now, I'm cautiously optimistic about these additions here because I adore the storytelling here. But with a good remaster and a good port of these older games comes quality of life changes, and one of the big things here is that English and Japanese fully voiced dialogue. I think that for a lot of younger players today, one of the barriers to entry is going to be reading a ton of text. Now, obviously, if you were playing this game back then, or any other RPG or any other video game for that matter back in the day, this was just something that you put up with. This is something that was the name of the game. You're going to be reading the story to these video games because there just wasn't voice acted dialogue for many of the video games out at this time. I think it's decreasing that barrier of entry to a lot of players by adding voice acting to the game. And even if you personally are someone who doesn't want the voice acting here in the game, you have the classic version here that has that incredible War of the Lions script to it that you can just play exactly like how you remember playing. Other little quality of life enhancements include a turn order on the side of the screen, similar to something like Final Fantasy X or even newer games by Square like Octopath Traveler. You can actually see the play order of characters and enemies on the battlefield, so you can actually really deeply strategize and try to anticipate other characters' moves on the battlefield. For a tactical RPG like this is just a must. Maybe it wasn't something that they were able to just quickly implement in the game back in the day, but yes, this is a remaster of the game, so yeah, quality of life improvements. This makes sense. This absolutely is a must. They're even giving you different field of view options so that you can just see the battlefield better. So far, this is exactly the kind of port or remaster that someone who is a fan of Final Fantasy Tactics could ask for. And of course, there's a visual difference in the two different versions of the game. The classic version is going to have more of that PlayStation 1 style to it, and the enhanced version is going to have a little bit of smoothing here and there. It's going to have some field of view, or I guess depth of the field in the foreground and stuff like that. I think all of that is super interesting, so I'm excited just to see the differences in different settings in these two versions. But whether you think one version of the game is more pleasing to look at than the other, I think the best thing about it is that you absolutely have the option to just play whichever version best suits your interests. You don't have to play the new enhanced version with all of the extra goodies and things like that. If you just want to play that original PlayStation 1 game with an excellent script added into it, I think the classic version is absolutely the way that you'd like to play this game. However, maybe you're someone who just has never played this game before, and you're someone who wants to experience an incredibly gripping narrative with some of the best tactical gameplay in the gaming medium. So many video games have pulled inspiration from Final Fantasy Tactics to make incredible modern games. Pre-orders are live right now on the Square Enix website, and I am so excited to get my hands on a physical copy of this game. I never thought that there would be a day where I could own a physical copy of Final Fantasy Tactics, because man, if you're trying to find a classic PlayStation 1 copy of the game, they are really costing an arm and a leg, let alone maybe you don't even have the means to play the original PlayStation 1 game nowadays. If you're looking for that authentic original PS1 hardware physical copy of the game, if you want that feeling, it's hard to do that nowadays. But here, for a measly $50, you're getting two versions of one of the greatest video games ever made. But also, if you're on their website to buy this game, you'll also see that they have this collector's edition, this physical box and game bundle, and it's not even been announced for 24 hours at the time of me recording this, and this is already sold out. At the set price of $250, you get an art sheet set, a special art box, you get a statue of Ramza, a Chocobo mini plush set, a set of acrylic magnet zodiac stones, as well as a pop-up piece of the outlying church. Like I said, this is already sold out, so Square, if you're watching this, hook your boy up. There's really some excellent goodies here, and as someone who loves this art style of the pop-up book aesthetic, especially whenever we start looking at newer games like Octopath Traveler, the Live Alive remake, this HD 2D style has that pop-up book feel, and I think, yeah, you can go back to a game like Final Fantasy Tactics to really start honing in on that stylization of these worlds. And so the fact that you get this church art piece that is like a pop-up book, I love it. That's exactly what I want to be displaying in my setup. But I want to know what you guys think. Are you a fan of Final Fantasy Tactics? Have you only heard the legends of this game and you've never actually played the game before? Are you planning on picking this up? Let me know what your experience is with the Final Fantasy series, but specifically Final Fantasy Tactics. Are you picking up this game? Let me know all of your thoughts down in the comments below. Also, while you're down there, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell as well so that you're notified whenever new videos like this go up. But if you're a Final Fantasy fan or an RPG gamer, or maybe you just enjoy good storytelling, go ahead and consider joining the Discord down in the description box below. There's a whole other community of like-minded individuals like you who want to talk about games like this, who want to discuss games like the Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster. So go ahead in the description below and join the Discord. But with all that said, I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.